Welcome to another episode of Let's Rewatch, the show where we like to watch movies we loved in our past and see if they're actually any good. I'm Nick.
I'm Bret.
I'm Sam.
I'm Ash.
And I'm Ryan.
Yay!
The special guest for this very special episode.
Yes, we're getting very serious here. Actually, Ryan, this is an intervention for you.
I can't read.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about today.
And you picked the right career.
As a writer, it's a serious problem for you.
So Ryan Self is an improv comedian / writer, and he's going to be joining us today as we talk about our movie. So you're a member of the improv group called the Roadies.
Yes, although I think there is no "the" in it. Although
it's simply Roadies?
We'll say the Roadies. I like that. That's fun.
I just got to name the improv group.
We do the most terrifying type of improv, which is singing improv, where you're
musical improv,
where you have to do all your make-em-ups within the beat and rhythm and tune.
Because normal improv wasn't hard enough for you.
Yeah.
You had to make it more challenging.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. Bret and I still will be like, monastery law.
Oh my God, I love that. Actually, we recorded 2 of the Roadies live performances, and you can watch them on our YouTube channel, Laugh/TV, and the Monastery Law one is one of them.
That one was super
so
fun.
good.
Yep.
Yeah.
We were quoting it for
awesome.
kind of a really long time.
It was so like Les Mis too.
Yeah.
It was really fun. We have an amazing accompanist who he makes up the songs as he's going to. He's a composer for film and TV, and so we don't even know what he's going to play. So it's not even like, oh, well, we're going to play song number Q. Number Q.
It's just whatever he feels
It's just what he feels, and then it's like a jam session.
That's so cool.
But you're trying to be really funny while you're doing it.
Yeah.
And make sense.
And like have a story arc.
Yeah.
I think that's the most impressive thing to me is like you guys usually have a very solid, silly but very solid story arc, like it follows the story structure.
We try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where do you guys typically perform? I think I saw you once at UCB.
Yeah, we have a residency now at 3 Clubs, which is in Hollywood. Okay. For anybody who lives in the Hollywood area or are coming to visit, it's pretty much dead center in the middle of all of Hollywood. It's Vine and Santa Monica, if people know that. Cross street. It's a cool club. Or it's a bar, rather. They call it 3 Clubs. And there's a bar, and then a bar within a bar. And that bar within a bar has a theater space.
Ash, do you remember?
It's like a speakeasy, right?
Kind of feels like it, yeah.
Yeah.
We met a magician at the Magic Castle who invited us to a show that was a combo burlesque magic show. And I think it was at that place.
I bet it was.
It was. Yeah, it was John Armstrong invited us with
awesome.
Marcy.
Yeah, it's a cool spot.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
Yeah, it's great it's just the right size. It's like got really good lighting. If you have like a full crowd, it's awesome. But if you have like a half crowd, it still feels like a full crowd. So
because it's very intimate.
Yeah.
And there's like a bar inside the room too, so you can get
so people
drinks,
get up and get drinks
which is a little awkward.
We
but
we encourage it, promote it.
Yeah,
it'll make our show better. We promise.
Right on. And so in addition to improv comedy, you are a television writer.
Yes.
You've got some stuff you're telling me in the process, but nothing currently airing.
Yes. There's stuff in reruns, but nothing currently coming out. But yeah, I definitely have a lot of stuff that probably in the next year, if I'm lucky, I might have a show that's all mine next year, which would be really cool.
And hopefully we can have you on to promote that as we do another episode.
Yeah.
We'll all be eager to see what form that takes. I know it's difficult. Sometimes you just can't talk about what's coming, but we're anxious to see whatever it may be.
I know. Yeah, I have a few features that I literally cannot talk about. So
that's kind of fun in itself.
Oh, also, Ryan is also the Breakup Ninja.
Oh,
I guess we should mention that.
Yeah, for anybody that knows.
First videos that we ever made.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
I still have the most vivid memories of the ocean one where I I went into the ocean and just popped out. It took so many takes and I got hit by so much water and it was so cold.
You're so cold.
And then the end result looks amazing.
It does. That's one of my favorite shots to date is like it's just an over the shoulder of Brandon, and then Ryan pops out of the water like he was completely submerged underwater in a ninja outfit and everything.
And then the towel squeegee butt. That was fun.
So speaking of people trying desperately to recover from difficult breakups, this time around we'll be watching The Mummy from 1999.
Good segue.
Yeah, did that work for you? So we're returning to our old friend Brendan Fraser, who we all love.
Frasier.
Frasher.
Fretcher? Is that a compromise?
I don't know if I believe you on the pronunciation of his name anymore after Sigourney. Sigourney? Is that how you said Sigourney's name?
I don't remember which way I went.
Oh.
You said pronunciation.
Pronunciation, though.
Yeah, if you can't pronounce,
well,
pronounce.
Ryan, this is what happens when you have a writer on the podcast. Your speaking grammar was wrong?
I'm going to rewrite that last little segment real quick. Let's just take a break, guys. I can make you all funnier. Here we go.
So,
Mummy.
Yeah, so I think the reason we're watching this, of course, is that there is yet another new Mummy movie.
Yeah, I think it came out 2 days ago.
Did it come and go and no one?
mean,
knows?
still
I think it
month,
left
right?
out of the box office and straight into an early grave.
Well, it is called The Mummy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this one, it's interesting to track what's going on here because everybody's talking about how Universal wants to have their own connected universe. There's the Marvel universe and the DC universe, and this is Universal's pitch at having their connected universe.
Of what?
Yeah.
But it's actually kind of the third time this has happened. Wait, you're saying
what?
why?
The Mummy and what else?
Of monsters. And if you think about it, they already did this in the 30s. You've got the Mummy, you've got Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Jekyll and Hyde. And they were kind of the first connected universe back in the 30s. And now they're trying to do it again.
But did they have a group movie?
Yeah, did they have a group movie?
Oh, certainly.
The Monsters
really?
Assemble?
Oh, yeah. They all started meeting. And of course, if you think about it, it all sort of terminated in Abbott and Costello becoming part of it. You know, Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein and all that stuff.
Abbott and Costello meet the
Right. Yeah.
I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah. Which makes me think, I'm really anxious to see if this whole connected monster universe takes
It
off.
goes down to that.
And eventually it's Seth Rogen meets Frankenstein. What's going to happen
Seth
with this?
Rogen and
It's like a new episode of Hangover.
The Hanger.
The Hanger. Sorry. A new movie of The Hangover.
The Hanger sounds like a really horrifying movie about
Please don't go into
Yeah,
this. It
yeah,
can get
really,
bad
really.
real fast.
It
No,
sounds
why
like a
a
movie that would
hangus?
happen.
So yeah, I really, really love the 1930s monster movies, and I'm interested to see where they go with this thing. I think the new Mummy movie has not been getting great reviews, which is not a
No,
good
it
forecast for
hasn't.
their connected universe.
I mean, that scene that they released accidentally with no sound. Did you guys
did they? No.
There was
That
a
was
trailer they
glorious.
released like 4 months ago or something that was accidentally just had no sound.
Oh, no.
And it was just the Foley. So there was no music. And it was like
That is
it was just
so
like
much
speaking.
worse because that means it's not an upload error. That means they forgot to mix all the
Yeah.
stems.
Yes, and it was hilarious, and it
Ooh.
went everywhere. You could probably still find it somewhere. I'm sure
It's just
someone was
a
smart and
series of
downloaded it.
hilarious grunts coming out of Tom Cruise.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Can I read you the terrible scathing one-line review?
Oh boy.
no.
It's not that it's bad. It's that it never could have been good. Whoa. It's an irredeemable disaster from start to finish.
Whoa.
Did any of you see the trailer? Well, I guess you saw the
No.
trailer without music.
Yeah, and then I saw like the real one, I think, and
Yeah.
it looked weird.
So bad. It kind of reminded me of like what they tried to do. Was it Jurassic Park 3 where they're like, but they bring the dinosaur to the town, you know?
Yeah.
It's like they bring the mummy
San Diego,
to the city. Yeah. And it was no, let's not do that. No.
The best thing to come out of this whole advertising campaign is everyone making the meme of the
Oh yeah. That was so great.
I don't know that.
You can't really the
There's
M
a
and the
movie
Y on the
poster.
posters kind of like are hard to read.
So it just looks like It's great.
Wow.
Then there was the Cubs baseball game.
Oh my
The what?
god! Yeah, they had the ad for the Mummy, and then the sports ticker pops up, and it had the Cubs symbol over the M.
Oh no!
Oh no! I had to think about that for a second.
That's awesome.
Oh god!
Tom Hanks is the Gummy.
No, it's not Tom Hanks. Then it would be good.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I would watch that one.
I don't know. I'm still very interested to check out this new Mummy movie, but I think I'm hearing that it's probably not going to be a good experience.
Yeah, maybe
But sometimes that makes it better. Like if you go into it knowing that it will suck,
Yeah.
you're more likely to at least get a little bit of enjoyment out
That
of
is
it.
true. When we watched, still to date, my favorite bad movie I've ever seen was The Happening when I watched it with you.
Oh yeah,
because I knew it was going to be bad.
Yeah,
and it was actually really enjoyable. Like it was a funny, fun movie.
yeah.
Oh, no.
If you laughed at it,
Yeah. Like if you don't take it seriously, it's actually like if you know it's awful going into it. You're like,
I did not have that
Yeah.
experience.
Good job, M. Night.
I felt that way too about The Passengers because they just gave Bryce and I The Passengers when we bought
man.
the latest Andromeda video game or Mass Effect video game, and they're like, "Please, just take it," and we're like, "Okay."
I love that has literally nothing to do with like Mass Effect. It's space, I
It's
guess.
in space,
But,
yeah.
like
I guess
no video game guy like sitting at home alone is going to sit and watch a romantic weird sci-fi comedy.
Yeah, we were confused. Like
Romantic
this would have made more sense to give
drama.
away with Prey. Like I feel like Prey would have made. I don't know. Anyway, so
Yeah, I've got
So we
strong
watched it-
opinions about that movie, but
about Passengers, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a good movie.
Did you
but
ever
it
watch
was,
that video about how it would have been better if they switched the first half and the last? half?
I read an
haven't
article
watched
that
it
said
yet.
that,
Oh, that would've been
and they're
cool.
right.
Yeah.
It's so compelling, and it's just like, damn, they
And-
really fucked that up.
What I like about The Passengers is I like that there was like I like the idea, like the story
Yeah.
idea is like a really cool idea. It's just the execution in every way is not great.
My quick summary is I'm not upset that our main character did this horrible thing. It's that the story rewarded him ultimately.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
You're right.
Right.
That's what
true.
angers me about that movie.
Is now a good time to say that I have not seen this movie?
Yeah. This is
Yeah,
the time
that's
to
a good
say
time. Good.
it. I just saw it last
You can
week.
borrow it from me for free.
She has a free copy.
Cool.
I will say the CG. I really like the CG
was cool.
and the tech in the movie. Like, there's some really cool, like, future tech ideas.
And the bartender is the best part of the whole movie.
Yeah. They purposely modeled that bar to look like the Shining bar because it just.
It did.
Yeah, it just looked like.
I
the
think they
Shining
may
bar to
have.
me. Yeah.
I mean, whoever did that movie definitely loves Kubrick because it also was very 2001
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, but not as good.
Anyway.
So when are we going to watch Passengers? Is that what we're
Yeah,
about to watch, right?
Yeah, we're watching it.
Yeah, so instead of all that business, we'll be watching The Mummy, which I think was a successful swipe at the remake of the 1930s monster movies.
That's interesting because I didn't even I forgot. So I told someone I was going to watch The Mummy, and they're like, "Oh, like the original?" And I'm like, "Yeah, not the new one with Tom Cruise." And they're like, "No, like the original." I'm like, I don't think as a kid I ever knew there was an original Mummy. Is that sad? Does that make you really
didn't
sad?
either.
I don't know if it's
Yeah, I didn't
bad,
either.
but at a certain period of time, those were huge movies. I mean, Boris
sure.
Karloff, Bela Lugosi, like those are
Yeah.
our original monsters. And yeah, I've
wasn't
been
alive
talking a
then,
lot about doing one of those old movies here in this podcast. I think Frankenstein or Bride would be a great movie to do.
I'm surprised that you let us do this one. I was like, I bet Nick's going to be like, guys, can we just do the original?
Yeah, I kind of want to watch the original, but this one's fun too.
We think it's fun.
Yeah, we'll see.
We remember it. We remember it as
Yeah.
being fun. We'll see. 'Cause I don't know.
So our director is Stephen Sommers, and I thought he'd done a lot more until I looked him up. And it's funny, his first movie is Catch Me If You Can, but not that Catch Me If You Can.
Was the Catch Me If You Can that we know a remake of it, or is there literally no relation to the two?
Literally no relation. It looks to be some sort of like race car movie.
Oh.
And after that, he did the live action remake of The Jungle Book, but not that live action remake of the Jungle Book, the one that was in 1994 that you don't even remember.
So on the resume, he looks amazing.
Yeah, if you just squint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see you did the Jungle Book and Catch Me If You Can't. I always thought that was Steven Spielberg that did Catch Me. Huh, interesting.
Wrong Steven,
okay,
I guess.
all right, yeah.
Yeah. But then he did The Mummy in 1999, and then The Mummy Returns in 2001, and he actually also directed Van Helsing in 2004, which makes it look like they were once again trying to do that combined universe, and it fizzled out.
Oh.
Right.
Or they just were like, well, he did kind of the monstery type thing. He can do another one.
Well, and Van Helsing had that same flavor of humor too, where it was like they weren't really taking it completely seriously. I remember actually liking that movie, even though it's probably, again, a horrible movie, but I remember at the time enjoying it.
Did he do the other mummies?
So there, I think, was a third
There's like
Mummy
the third?
movie, and then The Scorpion King, and he's credited as a writer, probably because the characters were based on stuff he did.
Because the original.
And then he did the first G.I. Joe movie, which I didn't even know. Yeah, so that's him. Yeah, I haven't seen.
Are we
either
talking
of
the
those.
actual G.I. Joe movie, or are we talking like the 1990s G.I. Joe?
G.I. Joe.
Yeah, there's because I've watched the animated G.I. Joe movie, and it's really great. And the big villain that they have to fight is the BET. It's actually what it is.
Wow.
What?
The BET.
Oh,
I don't remember what
man.
it stands for, but that's Cobra creates the BET, and they have to try to take it down.
Isn't that the Black Entertainment? Okay.
There's no subtle racism there at all.
I know, right?
yeah.
And their opening song is like it's like a musical. Like there's an opening song. They
Wow.
fight and jump all around the Statue of Liberty while they're singing. Like,
Did you watch it recently, Ryan?
No, probably.
Just a
couple years
favorite.
ago.
I just love the thought
every
of
day.
Cobra Commander.
Yeah.
Like, I would like the BET. Cobra Commander.
So for this movie, we're getting back to our old friend Brendan Fraser. And I think one of the things we were talking about
Phrasing.
with Brendan Fraser is the fact that we haven't really seen him recently. And
Yes.
I was looking back at his history, and I've figured out a reason. Here's why I think we haven't seen him recently.
Oh.
Because he did 17 movies in his first 10 years. That dude just
Wow.
already did all of his work and just decided to stop.
He's like, I'm good. Yeah.
There's a limit. You run out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to challenge you guys a little bit. Between 1999 and 2001, a period of 3 years, he did 6 movies. And one of them is a gimme. You've got The Mummy, which was 1999. So,
Yeah.
And in 1999, he did 3 movies. Do you guys know
Monkey
what
Bone.
those 5? Monkey Bone
That's a good
was, was
that one?
2001. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
The other one in
Encino
2001
Man, right?
should be pretty easy.
George
Did you
of the
say
Jungle?
Encino Man?
Yeah, Encino Man.
Encino Man was 94, but he had a big block in 93
He
and
was
94.
pretty young.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, Ash said George of the
George of
Jungle.
the Jungle's
George
a
of
good
the
one.
Jungle.
Didn't
George
you
of the
say The
Jungle
Mummy
was
Returns was
97.
2001?
So it was just before this crazy block. Yeah.
Dudley Do Right.
Dudley Do Right is correct. The other George of the Jungle.
Sam said Mummy Returns.
Because you already mentioned that one.
Was he
Yes.
in Crash?
Mummy Returns was
Crazy?
the other 2001.
2001, a Brendan Fraser Odyssey.
So there's 2 more, one from 99 and one from 2000.
Boy.
Wasn't he in like a romantic comedy?
Yes, keep
Probably.
going.
What was that called?
Yeah, I can picture the cover.
Yeah, I can too, but I can't remember the name.
It wasn't like with Reese Witherspoon, was it?
No, but I keep
Just
wanting
like
to say
Heaven
her.
or something?
It's Alicia Silverstone, I think.
Oh.
So Blast from
gonna-
the Past
Make a guess. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Which-
Oh.
could have been the title for Encino Man. And then
Yeah.
Bedazzled was in 2000.
Oh, I forgot about Bedazzled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that,
That
he
was pretty
did that recurring role on Scrubs. And then he's done stuff, but nothing really memorable from there. So I think he just did all of his work in 10 years and then decided to kick it.
Phrased out.
Yeah.
No.
Frizzed out.
Frizzed out.
Frazzed out.
Also, I keep
Freezer
seeing like
out.
meme photos of him on the internet, and he's not buff anymore. He's like a human potato.
Yeah, he's a little chunky now. But isn't he? I think he's doing something new. Isn't he like doing a TV show or something?
I remember seeing stuff on his IMDb list, but nothing as memorable as, Bedazzled or Monkey Bone. Those old classics.
Clearly memorable. We could come up with it.
Yeah. So
I like Monkey Bone. I'm probably the only person.
With silence in the room. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I've never seen it.
was Monkey Bone Henry Selick?
Yes.
Okay.
And I love Henry Selick.
Okay.
And also, I love Chris Kattan. But again, I might be alone on that one.
I like Chris Kattan.
Okay.
So we've also got Rachel Weisz in this, and I think this was very early in her career.
Oh, right.
forgot
She
that
was
it was
so
her.
good.
She's
Yeah.
the librarian, right? Mm-hmm. Which I in my mind, I still think of her as like Marion the librarian from The Music Man.
Oh,
That's
I haven't
all.
seen it.
No, okay. No,
Okay,
I'm
all
the
right.
only one alone in the room here?
Quiet.
Again. Okay, great.
All right.
Musicals.
Ryan knows all about them, even G.I. Joe musicals.
I do.
G.I. Joe. I remember her from Enemy at the Gates, which I think was a fantastic movie that kind of fizzled
was a
out.
great
I really want to watch that on the podcast.
Yeah. That was
You want to
some
do
good
Enemy
Jude
at the
Law.
Gates?
Thumbs up.
Yeah. It was Jude Law and what's his name? Ed Harris was the other sniper, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I'd forgotten about Ed Harris.
It's the two of them. I got memories.
Yeah. Wow.
Behind Enemy Lines. That was young Ryan at his best.
Wow.
Sitting in a
You
movie
wrote that
theater.
too?
I wrote that.
Yeah.
We've also got John Hannah, who he's weird. I really, really like John Hannah, but he hasn't been in a ton of stuff. Looking at his list, he was in 4 Weddings and a Funeral and Sliding Doors. He was in the
I love 4 Weddings and a Wait.
Me too.
Never mind. Wait, yeah. 4 Weddings, a
Yeah.
Funeral. That's the comedy, right? The British okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But you might be thinking of Death at a Funeral. Which
Oh,
is
yes.
Death at
That's
a
what I'm
Funeral's
thinking of.
great.
Sorry.
Four Weddings and a Funeral is a little more like
Frank
a romantic
Oz.
comedy.
I thought you were going to say John Hamm when you were. That's what I thought you were going to say. I'm like, what?
He's in? No, different guy. He's also in the most recent 2 years of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he's pretty great in that.
Oh, I don't even know. I can't even picture who this guy is.
You'll recognize him. He's fun.
Yeah.
And Imhotep in this movie is Arnold Vosloo, a South African guy who did a lot of stuff in South Africa, and then basically just did the Darkman sequels, this, and then G.I. Joe. So he kind of came and went pretty quickly. Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
Got replaced by The Rock.
But I seem to remember he was like pretty rad in this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 Is this the one with the girl, the singer girl, too? Or is that the Returns?
I don't remember a singer girl.
Alicia
Keys.
The one that died.
Aaliyah?
No? Okay.
I know. I don't know.
Must be the Aaliyah. Yeah.
Do you guys talk about things that you remember from the movie?
We really want to talk about our expectations, and a big part of that is
Sure.
what do we remember? And do you have anything immediately like, I remember
Isn't The Rock in this movie?
No, not yet.
Not this one.
He
No,
that's
shows
the
up
next
eventually.
he was
Then
the
I don't
Scorpion
remember
King.
much.
And so he came along in the second or the third Mummy movie, and then he got his own movie.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The second or third had a big Zeppelin. I remember that.
Yeah, wow. I'm not remembering any of this.
And they're like traveling on it for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that.
The first one, I just remember a library scene. And Harold Hill is singing, and no, there is a light. Like then, like bookcases are falling over.
Yeah, that's a good
Right?
scene. Yeah.
Okay. That's like the one, and then them driving in like the London streets or something like that on a motorcycle or a moped or something weird.
I kind of feel like this is the movie where, traditionally our monster movies have been kind of slow, especially in the 30s. And this one kind of brought in fast CG stuff, which is kind of
Yeah.
weird because you
Yeah, the
think
CG
Mummy
was, like,
and
cool.
you think slow, lumbering sort of thing. But they managed to get a
hope
lot
it's
of
cool.
fast CG shit into this.
Like you watch Jurassic Park and the CG holds up. This was around that same time.
I don't
think it's gonna
I
hold
don't
up.
remember the CG holding up even back then, so
Really?
I'm a little nervous.
Really? Oh.
Scarabs.
Yeah, the
I
bugs.
remember the scarabs.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That was one way they had something fast.
Yeah.
And this is the time in CG after Jurassic Park where Jurassic Park was like, we need to try really hard because all the CG stuff wasn't looking so hot. And then this is CG has a little too much confidence time.
Oh.
And it was like this and Lost in Space. And like there was important CG that I don't think it worked in the scenes it was supposed to really work in.
Yeah, this was
Jurassic Park
7
just
years
proved-
after Jurassic Park.
7 years?
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's some time had passed.
We're still in the shadow of that amazing T-Rex.
That's because a lot of it was practical.
I know.
So, Ash, this is a movie that you really wanted to watch.
Yes.
So,
She says as she's on her
Done.
phone.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to look up the singer thing. I'm pretty sure I remember there was like a singer and she died. Anyway, I'll keep researching. But yes,
movie? She's in this
it's either this movie or it's one of the Mummy movies.
is she?
But yeah, I remember.
I think
is
it's
she
Scorpion King.
Anxanamun? The mummy's
She
wife or whatever.
Sounds like a great opportunity for an incoherent
yes,
Google question.
She plays. She played that character, and what happened was they filmed part of the movie. This is what I remember, and I could be wrong, but she played part of the movie, and then she died in a plane crash during filming.
Oh,
and they had to recast her.
Oh.
And so she's only in all of the back in the past, like when they're back in
flashback.
Egypt times, you see her, but then in the present, the mummy wife is played by a different actress, which is why like they look different.
Interesting.
I could be wrong. I'm
All right,
trying to
hold up.
look it up.
Incoherent Google question. Who's the singer who died in The Mummy in a plane crash? They're all.
You phrased that wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
what's her name?
It's Aaliyah.
I knew that shit. Boom.
Ooh.
Anyway, yeah, so I really like this movie.
I really like this
I
creepy
remember-
movie.
Yeah. I remember watching it multiple times when it came out, and I think I owned it, and I really liked. This is my problem with. I've only seen the trailer for the new one, but the new one doesn't seem to have any sort of sense of humor, and I love the sense of humor that Brendan Fraser brings to this, and not just him. I seem to
Also
remember
John
that it was, like,
Hannah.
written. Yeah, I remember it was written with like a flair of humor
Yeah.
that I really liked, but I always gravitate towards comedy. So, but yeah, I remember liking Brendan Fraser as that action hero star. Like, I think he makes a really good action hero star. At least back then he did.
I remember
This is
being
his
weirded
swipe
out by
at
him being a
Indiana
star.
Jones.
Yes. You
Yeah.
were weirded out by him?
Because for me it was like, oh, okay, so we're having a goofy comedy guy now try to do Indiana Jones. And I
It always
remember-
fell into the same comedy category as like Stargate for me,
Sure, okay.
where it was like there's a serious plot going on, and actually a lot of the people in the movie are really, really serious.
Yeah.
But your main action star is just like having a fucking like romp through.
Yeah. I guess
Like,
I love
oh my
that.
God, this is awesome, a mummy. Like,
Yeah, no, you're right. That is true. Stargate's a great movie.
Is it?
I recently did rewatch it, and it was still great.
Okay. That might be one that falls into the category of if you have nostalgia for it, then you like it. Because we watched it
No, don't say this.
like in the past 5 years, and it was our first time, and we were bored, and
but
it was
we
hard
were
to
also
follow.
like show fans first.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
nothing-
that's
it-
We
it's
were
not
watching
even
the show
remotely
at the
close to
same
show.
time.
Yeah. Yeah, they're totally different beasts.
I think Stargate
Yeah, that
is a
could've
great movie
contributed.
with lots of flaws.
Yes. Definitely lots of flaws. A lot of slow parts in the middle and stuff, and
But the mummy.
the mummy.
So you're expecting
Not a
this
slow
to be
moment in The
good,
Mummy.
Ash.
I am. I'm expecting the comedy to hold up. I don't know about the CG. The CG might not hold up. And I, to be very honest, I really don't remember a lot. It sounds like I might remember more from the second one. But I remember liking it. So I don't know. We'll see.
I remember the ride at Universal. No spoilers, but the ride at Universal
the ride
Studios
was terrible.
I remember every time
I think it's still one of the best rides at Universal.
Everybody tells me don't go on that ride; it's terrible. So I've never actually done it.
What?
They just redid it.
Yeah, it's different now.
I actually think it's the best. They did some tweaks and stuff to make it a little more updated. But no, there's a cool like surprise. I'm not going to ruin it for you guys, but there's a cool surprise near the end.
Yeah, I was on it last time, or when I was on it when I went to Florida, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah,
We have ridden the one Horror Nights.
We have ridden the one.
We have. I believe I went with
No,
you.
I've been on the ride for sure.
okay.
I hated it. Absolutely. I thought it was the poor man's version of Indiana Jones. I was like, this is
Boom.
so.
I totes agree.
Okay,
sorry.
Maybe they
But-
changed it.
I mean
like-
that's what I felt like the movie The
Yeah.
Mummy was. The poor man.
Maybe they've changed it. I'm curious
It's
to
on
know.
theme.
But I feel like I went on the ride when it first opened, and all it was this is what I remember. All it was you sit in a little seat, whatever, and you're on a track, and you're going through a dark, like it's just black. You can't see anything.
Yeah, and your imagination gets to like.
And then, and then they just have these like silk, like flaggy type things that are being blown.
imagination.
I mean, if you don't enjoy
Sorry,
The Mummy,
Brian.
clearly you're not imaginative enough.
I can turn off the lights and sit on my couch and turn a
was like-
fan on at home. Thank
It's like
you.
they had the wacky inflatable arm 2-bar man guys, and that's all that you like go past. And I just remember being so disappointed. I was like, "This is lame."
Where's the mummy?
Sorry, Ryan.
Well, there's a moment where you ruin it. Maybe you go backwards, and it was really cool. It surprised me.
oh,
You stop, and then all of a sudden
yeah.
everything you start doing the whole thing backwards. That I thought was cool.
You're easily pleased.
Ooh,
backwards.
backwards. I get to imagine in backwards.
Imagination.
It sounds like Ash took a wrong turn and ended up at Alexi's Universal Theme Park.
I could just be remembering it wrong. I don't know, but
Now that you've ridden the ride, would you like a deal on a new Ford? Come on down.
So, Sam, what are you thinking this movie is going to be like?
I really liked it as a kid. I liked the adventure and the fantasy things of it, but I was also known to like bad fantasy as a kid. So
Yeah.
it could go either way for me. I really want it to be fun and enjoyable with a few dated things in it, but I would not be surprised if it turned out to be bad.
I feel like this has got to be better than Legend, though.
Well,
Right?
Legend.
Yeah.
Legend.
Tim,
with
if you
Mary
haven't
as the
seen
devil.
it,
No.
I can't recommend you
Okay.
to watch it, but you also kind of have to watch it because it's Tim Curry as the devil,
Yeah,
which is
okay.
amazing.
It's the poor man's version of Dance Magic Dance, the Labyrinth.
Labyrinth.
Yes.
Oh, it's in that vein?
But it's before Labyrinth,
Whoa.
I think.
It's like a very
Pre-Labyrinth.
It's really bad.
Wow.
It's not a musical. Sorry, Ryan.
No, I'm not interested. Yeah, if there's
Yeah,
no
done.
Labyrinth has David Bowie doing the most amazing contact
Yes.
juggling
Absolutely.
and just junk, just David Bowie junk right there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
right there in your
David Bowie
face.
junk.
I mean,
So, Brett, have you seen The Mummy? You must have.
I've seen this movie. Yeah, we owned it and I watched it a lot when I was younger.
Oh.
And I feel like I remember actually quite a lot about this movie.
Oh.
And
Uh-oh.
I still think in my head it's pretty good.
okay.
Okay.
And even though I was a little hard on the CG earlier, I'm pretty sure there's at least one scene with the slack-jaw mummy that
oh
is
God, I
actually
forgot
really good.
about that.
And
Yeah, his jaw's like this wide.
Yeah.
I think he does it like twice, and it's the second one that's really good, and the first one has kind of shitty CG.
Doesn't he like spit scarabs out? Like he opens his mouth and
Yeah.
Like,
like like Green Miles it.
Yeah, so,
yes.
That is hilarious, and we
but
all know exactly what you're talking about.
but I am pretty excited about this one. I think it's going to be really funny. I think this was like, I mean, this is the thing that we all love Brendan Fraser for. Like, there's a reason,
Yes.
and it's not the other movies he made.
No, yeah, it's this one for sure.
It's not Encino Man?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of George of the Jungle.
So I'll give you one small prediction here. I think that John Hannah is going to steal the show. I remember him being really great.
I feel like I remember that too. Yeah.
Okay. But there's one other thing I wanted to mention that kind of sparks my imagination, and it's if you put yourself in the frame of mind where in 1922 they dug up the tomb of Tutankhamun. And people started talking about what you could find in these tombs. And people started talking about the curses that they planted on these tombs. And at that time, people were kind of going apeshit about the imaginative ideas that came out of that. And I think that's where the Mummy movie, the first one in 1932, came from. And I think it's kind of fun, maybe more for the old one, but also for this one. Think about that real life scenario of like, there was a day when suddenly they started digging shit up and discovering the crazy stuff that happened thousands of years ago and the cool stories that people started building from that. And I think that's a fun element to these movies. But
that also leads to one of my favorite questions for archaeologists is how long does it have to be before it's not grave robbing anymore?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I thought you were going to say before it becomes an archaeological site. Because can I in my backyard? Can I?
When is it grave robbing? When is it archaeology?
Well, they've started doing digging up stuff in the Vatican. Like they just dug up a saint's tomb. And we're like, it's him.
Oh, wow. All right. Yeah. Well, we were right. Who wants to go get brunch at the IHOP?
We saw the label here, but we didn't believe it.
Yeah.
It's not really archaeology. It's just like a time capsule.
Yeah.
Well, didn't that happen in Napa? They they were starting to dig up the area for copia. And they found all these Native American artifacts that then shut down the whole
operation.
But in true Napa fashion, Copia got built anyway.
Yeah, true Napa fashion. They're like, fuck Native Americans. Sorry.
I think that's just American fashion.
And that's
sadly.
True.
That reminds me, I just recently rewatched one of the Doctor Who Christmas specials with River Song. There's this awesome line where she's telling somebody about how he's going to die in a spaceship crash. He's like, how can you know that? And she says, I'm an archaeologist from the future. I dug you up.
Whoa.
Which is the most badass thing anybody's ever said.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's rad.
My writing partner is an archaeologist, and so he would do all sorts of.
Really?
He actually, well, he that's what he was. That's what he went into school for, and so he spent 2 summers just digging.
That wasn't
in the
school.
plains.
That was just digging.
He was just digging in the back. Yeah. We have a sandbox. But then he realized it's really boring to be an archaeologist. It's not actually like Indiana Jones, and so now he's a journalist and a writer. But he bought a house recently in Altadena, and his dad this is 2 weeks ago, was just hanging out and helping him work on his car, and then was like, "Hey, Bob, what do you have buried underneath your garage?" He's like, what? He's like, here, and took out a tool and tapped the concrete floor, and you could hear dunk, 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 dunk. So he's measured it out, and it's a 4-inch by 4-inch square, and you can see that the concrete very, very slightly, it's different color.
Just 4-inch?
Just 4-inch. So what would a 4-inch by 4-inch square?
Money!
So, something's buried there.
No, you don't bury your dead cat in your garage.
You don't put concrete.
You bury it in your backyard before you build the garage 20 years later.
No, but this is like someone cut a hole
in the cement.
Oh.
Put some sort of hollow thing in there and then put cement back over. So there's something pseudo.
There's money in there.
We're going to take a poll to see. I think it's gold or Spanish doubloons or
it's got to be like a gold watch.
Like a dead body.
Or through a 4-inch hole.
A dead baby.
No, it's nothing dead.
Right? Maybe murder weapon.
A murder weapon for sure.
Yeah.
I was also thinking maybe John Wick's guns.
Oh.
I know somebody who actually was doing work on their chimney and found a gun in the chimney from 50 years ago. And they had to call the police and say, hey, there was a gun in my chimney. Please come get it.
Yep.
The police are like, yeah, whatever.
We got things to do.
Yeah. That's funny. No, really.
No, I'm serious. We've heard this one before. How does it end?
Well, so speaking of hidden things, in our house, there is a fireplace and chimney in the wall somewhere.
What?
So, like, behind that wall with our bookcase,
Wow.
somewhere in there.
We're staring at a wall that looks like a very normal wall.
Yeah. And
It's
You're detailing it to the
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just because,
the color
And
is slightly.
the Santa Claus before
blonde.
Tim Allen
Right.
is still in there.
no, so it's
Oh,
where this
no.
divider is in the room.
oh,
It used to go and be the chimney.
wow.
Well,
yep.
What things are living in there?
Well, potentially like bats and
so the
maybe
mummy.
a possum, you know.
So, Ryan, bring us home with what you expect out of The Mummy.
Boy. I expect some crappy CG, some really dated 90s slang. I really hope there's some good like phrases that are just like Frasers.
Frasers.
Yes.
There's one great
Phrases.
Fraser in there. Yeah.
Oh, good. And I hope the pacing is good, but I have a feeling because like anything that you watch like 10 years or earlier, I feel like it's just slower. I think we got very ADD culture with
We
like
did,
YouTube and
yeah.
stuff. But now it's hard to go backwards and watch something that's like paced at a normal pace. You're like, oh, this is so slow. So I'm hoping the pacing is good.
I feel like that's refreshing.
Maybe
Maybe we've come full circle.
Hopefully, I appreciate it rather than it catering to my whims.
We've discussed several times, like, I have a love of things that are too slow.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, good. That's it. That's my summary.
So you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I'm going home now. All right.
kidding.
Cool. So if you want to play along, you might want to pause the podcast, watch The Mummy, the Brendan Fraser Stephen Sommers version from 1999, and join us again when you finish the movie.
Brendan Fraser and so much CG. We all appreciated watching The Mummy.
They needed like a cat gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just needed more cats.
I
That
did
was the
appreciate
solution.
seeing the beginning of Keyboard Cat in this, though.
Yep.
Yeah,
we
it
saw
was
that.
nice seeing his first on-screen performance.
He was young then.
He was young.
that was-
Somebody posted
like-
on Reddit a video from Family Guy of Mayor Adam West and his cat launcher. And it was basically a big bag of cats and a crossbow that he would shoot at the pizza guy. That would have been really useful against the Mummy.
It would have.
It would. That
Yeah.
makes me sad.
Adam West,
Adam West.
he could have saved us from the Mummy.
He
Is
could.
Adam West dead?
He died.
When did he die?
This
Like a day or two
Saturday
ago?
something.
What?
Yeah. Sorry, Ryan. Sorry to let you know this way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man. Aw.
I know,
He was
Batman.
great. Yeah.
He was up
I just
there.
went,
Hey, so what'd you think about the Mummy?
man.
I think we should address the elephant in the room that this is the better version of Romancing the Stone.
If you're thinking, wow, this feels like a kind of a version of Indiana Jones, but done much, much better than Romancing the Stone, I would agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But obviously, Indiana Jones is the better mummy.
Every action movie is better than Romancing the
No,
Stone.
I was actually a little surprised at how good this was. And
Yeah.
I
Us
kept
too.
thinking, wow, this is really good, but it definitely feels good because of what it has in common with Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Sure.
You know,
Well, I kept thinking that I was like, I wish this was a video game. And then I'm like, oh yeah, there's 4 of them. Uncharted. This is a video game.
yeah.
But it's just a really good adventure action movie and story. Like the whole
for sure.
setup is great and like the follow through with the call to action and like it kept my interest the whole time.
There's lots of twists. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say there's more to be had than just for fans of Raiders because as a kid, I was not didn't really watch the indie movies until I was like late teenager, and I definitely saw this movie before I watched any of the Indiana Joneses.
Oh,
wow.
weird.
yeah, and this was cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but like to piggyback on Ash's video game comment, I feel like the writing was a little bit like a video game, you know, like you have an objective and then all these mummies or bad guys come in the way and you have to defeat them to get the objective of the scene. And yeah,
it was all about getting us to certain situations.
Set pieces.
As fun as this movie is, I have some complaints, and one of them is the flimsy writing. And it really does just kind of serve to get us to a place, you know, but it's like
Which flimsy writing?
Yeah.
Maybe not flimsy, but convenient. Like, you know, you've got a curse that will be the worst, most miserable thing you can do to this guy. If he ever gets out of this, he's going to be all powerful, immortal. He'll be able to destroy the world. But we're really angry, so we're going to use this curse. Or like the scarabs, they eat you very, very slowly. And then when the scarabs get out, they eat people very, very quickly.
Really quickly.
So which way are we going with this, you guys?
Well, okay, I think it was like a scarab could live for years on the corpse. But if 10,000 scarabs each take a bite out of you because they're hungry.
They put them right in there with them.
I think the most convenient writing was if you read the cover, you'll control the bad guys now.
Yeah, that's true.
How would she ever know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, the most powerful spell is often on the cover of the book.
So I hope somebody listening to this will know if they were speaking a language. My theory is it was gibberish because they subtitled at the end when he was like, destroy them. And the word that he said is the same word that they read in the book to wake him up.
But wasn't it Hebrew? Because the Weasley guy started speaking Hebrew and then Imhotep recognized it as the language of the slaves. And so I just assumed it was Hebrew from then on.
Hebrew? Oh, from then on.
I thought he was only speaking that when he was talking to the guy. There is no like spoken Egyptian language, so
that we know.
I mean, nobody knows what it is.
Oh, they didn't talk.
It died. They just they just pointed language and stuff, and then drew pictures. Drew
birds at each other.
Yeah.
It's not really so much as convenient writing as it is this doesn't make a lot of sense, but he steals the eyes from like the worst character, the dude who needs glasses. Like, shouldn't this mummy have been nearsighted the whole fucking movie?
Yeah.
Or farsighted, whatever, but
yeah. I would buy that he doesn't know what glasses are and that this guy has a deficiency. But then,
then the
mummy should not have been able to see very well.
Yeah, so he should have needed glasses.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But then I was thinking maybe that's why he thinks this one chick is a Noxun Namun, because he's like, I can't say her name. I'm sorry.
That's a really good point.
Because he can't see very well. Maybe the whole movie he just can't really see.
We'll also notice that the mummy himself doesn't really do much of anything. He walks around very slowly, especially during the action sequence at the end. He's not fighting anybody. He's just smiling and looking around. I think he's oblivious to what's really happening because he can't really see.
He can't see them.
Sounds like things are going well. Yeah. This seems good.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things in this that I remembered when I saw them, but didn't remember until I saw them. And one of them that I love was that kind of confused when he first sees her, Anaxonomoon? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Kind of this dopey, like, is that you?
There were a lot of good one looks, like where they just had a look. Most of them were Brendan Fraser's, but there were a few from everybody.
Like on the camels.
Yeah.
Dude. Speaking of camels.
Yes.
Okay.
Check this.
So at the scene where they're first finding the magical land, I can't remember the name of it.
The temple they're going to.
Yeah, the temple. Ash was like, no way are they going to be beat out by horses. You know, they're on camels. Dude, top speed of horses, 20 to 30 miles an hour. Top speed of camels, 40 fucking miles per hour.
Can you imagine?
Right? Camels are faster than horses.
A camel could chase down and eat a cheetah.
I can't imagine.
No.
I'd like to see
Their top speed is 55 to 60, so no.
That's why there's no cheetahs with camels. You never see them together.
Never see them together.
I want to say that, like, a cheetah's top speed is 55 to 60, but not all cheetahs are the Usain Bolt of cheetahs.
I know.
There's got to be
A fast camel and a
some
slow cheetah.
slow-ass
No,
cheetahs. Yeah.
I think that's the
Not all
average
camels
Joe.
are the Usain Bolt of camels either.
Yeah, no, that's the average Joe of
I
like.
want to see a camel chase down a
average
Are you
cheetah.
talking about average Joe
Joe.
camel?
Yeah.
A tiger average Joe cheetah.
Wow.
They
Average Joe
can
camel is
run
great.
55 to 60 miles an hour. And then there's like an Usain Bolt cheetah that can go like 65 or
Joe
something.
Camel can't run for shit because he's got like
He's got
second lung
smoker's
problems.
lungs.
That
Yeah.
guy's not running fast.
My some of my favorite moments. I'm trying to remember them all, but one of my favorite moments was chair throw,
Oh, the chair
yes.
was
man.
so good.
where he needed to stop that Weasley guy that I don't know his name.
Yeah.
Benny.
Oh,
Who was
Benny,
Benny?
yeah.
Benny was the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was great.
What's
Nick,
funny-
you were wrong.
I just finally got around to seeing Whiplash. So that's what I
Is
think
he in
about.
Whiplash?
No, just the idea of him throwing a chair at a guy.
Throwing a chair.
I haven't seen Whiplash.
Like, do you know
There is
why
a
I threw a chair at
That's all
you?
you need to know. Yeah, but I mean, that was a very effectively thrown chair. The
Yeah.
stunts in that movie were great.
They were
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
great.
Like there were some really good falls and flips and dives.
I didn't feel like it was like slow paced at all because I felt like the
Not at
stunts
all.
and the comedy like kept
And
it
just
up.
every scene had so much cool stuff to look at, like the way it was staged, all of the cool props in the background, and
A
like
lot of small visual comedy.
Yeah.
I noted that. Like there's just like when he was tying the rope around, just, like
he's, like, almost
and he was just
hitting the
almost
other
hitting
guy.
the other guy, just whipping him. It was just very small. It didn't need to be there, but it was very fun and visual.
And this is almost a complaint, but it doesn't bother me because the movie was so enjoyable. But they don't even unearth the mummy until like halfway through the movie. We spend
Yeah,
a
that's true.
lot of time of just, searching. But
And
the
it's-
characters
it's-
are so enjoyable and the pacing works and it's just the camera work is so great that it's fun.
Yeah. And it's something about like I feel like I guess we're referencing Romancing the Stone so much because we watched it recently. But like Romancing the Stone, I feel like tried that too, where it's like, well, it's all about the adventure, but this was like keeping you on the edge of your seat through the adventure.
I want to point out that the guys, the protectors, the great protectors, did an awful job at protecting.
Yeah, they were pretty bad.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
let
it's like,
them get in
oh,
the
they-
tomb.
well, okay,
Set up
we'll give you
camp,
a day.
spend a night there.
Yeah.
But
Also, was there a sponsorship with Glenlivet? That was like they didn't just say Scotch. They specifically were like, "Oh, Glenlivet,
and
this
they
guy
were
has taste."
chugging it
Yeah.
out of the bottle.
They were drinking. That's what I'm saying. They were drinking it like water.
Whew.
That is not how you drink Scotch.
Yeah.
Yeah, one guy was like guzzling it. It was pouring down his mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was also Benny. All the best parts were Benny.
Yeah, I have to say I was wrong. Like John Hannah was good, he was enjoyable, but I don't know why I remembered him being the best part of the movie because he was just
Yeah.
a decent
was
part.
fine.
Like
He was
Brendan
okay.
Fraser was actually more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was
was great.
great. I think this was not a Brendan Fraser line, but one of my favorite lines was "Son of the Pharaohs."
Yeah, son of Pharaoh.
I would like to encourage everyone to start using in their everyday speech.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
My favorite was when she was creeping around the library when she heard a noise and she goes, Abdul? Mohammed?
Yeah,
Bob?
she did. I
I don't know. It's such a small thing I thought was just hilarious. Bob?
The protector also, when he was leaving, said like, "May Allah bless you" or something. But he totally said it. It sounded very wrong.
I think he said Allah.
It wasn't Allah. It was like Allah. Allah.
May Alan bless you.
Alan bless you.
Tim Allen, may he bless you.
I mean, it's the 90s.
Yeah.
He's bigger than.
That was the one thing I take issue with is I feel like the like weird rubber elastic jaw thing was totally a 90s thing.
Oh, yeah.
That like
Scream.
that was, yeah, I don't know. It was like the one thing in this movie that felt really dated to me.
Sure, that's interesting. Or like the mask.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought of the mask.
There's a lot of things that they do that.
There was a moment where it was like this weird close up and it's like the color grading around his mouth area looks a little weird. Okay. That's
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, he's going to deep throat. Deep throat the air. Unhinges that jaw.
Yeah, somebody just thought mouths are scary.
I guess.
Yeah.
Wasn't there like a horror film too that did that? Like one of those
Probably.
Ring type movies?
Oh.
I don't know. It just seemed like a thing. Once they had CG, they were like, let's warp the face in a weird
what's
way.
the best thing we can do? Jaw unhinged.
I mean, if you think about it, it's pretty easy to do if you line it up right, visual effects wise.
That was my
And
favorite Burger King
Jib Jab
commercial.
was a thing.
Oh yeah, Jib Jab.
Yeah.
That's there you go.
You ever see that Burger King commercial? Or that was like the
Oh.
creepiest. No,
Where somebody
sounds
unhinged
familiar.
their
He was
jaw
like-
to eat a burger.
Yeah, they leave the burger on the table and walk away, and then the song starts playing, and it's like eat like a snake, and the guy like slithers up and unhinges his jaw and just
Yeah.
eats the whole burger. It's so creepy.
Yeah, that is not a good ad.
So speaking of Stargate, as we were, I thought it was really fun to see Eric Avari. He was like the head librarian guy, who was also
Yes.
Oh, that's
kind of
who
the-
it was.
I could not figure out where I'd seen him from recently.
He's like the wise like leader guy on the alien planet in Stargate, and he's like the guy you go to when you need a Middle Eastern guy who's likable and old and wise.
Yes,
And I don't know, he's just so lovable. I dig that.
he is. He's a great. Yeah.
Did you, Nick, spot the Shaun of the Dead moment before Shaun of the Dead?
Oh, Imhotep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just
I
gonna
was
blend in
I
with
was like,
you guys.
wow.
Yeah.
I was surprised that
We should have
gag.
taken some notes because there were a lot of moments I feel like that were like this was done before.
Well, I took notes, Ryan.
Oh, okay.
Well,
What else
one of
was
those-
there? Did you note down anything else that was like this had been done before?
Well,
yeah.
the hand coming up was like very. Is that Night of the Living Dead?
Night of
Or
the
like
Living
there were
Dead,
a lot of zombie references for
Yeah.
sure.
What I really enjoyed, and I feel like it's a Raiders of the Lost Ark thing, was the way they would push into somebody's eyes, or somebody would even sort of step into frame while the camera pushes into their eyes, which it's just a really gentle camera move that feels very adventurous in that tone. Probably because I saw it in Raiders and then saw it again in this. It's
Interesting.
just this.
There were a lot of just big zooms too.
Yeah, but a lot of just pushing, framing in on somebody's eyes, and it's just a beautiful little shot.
I can't think of. Can you name a shot? I can't. Really
I remember a lot of shots that were like really like definitely choreographed. Like I noticed the staging of the actors was such that the shot could be kind of stable or like a slow pan, and it would look really cool.
Yeah, they did it with one of the protectors on the cliffside.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, that push in
Okay.
was like a really.
They
good
definitely did it with Rachel Weisz in the City of the Dead. You know, she kind of steps a bit into frame as it's pushing in on her eyes, and it's I don't know, it's just a great move.
I really like, and I remember really liking it at the time. That shot in the beginning that transitions us out of the old Egyptian days into current time.
Oh, yeah.
And we pan around
Yeah.
the statue
With
and
the
it
erosion.
decays.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was super cool.
Speaking of the statues, it was supposed to be this like brilliant moment of her deducing if the one book was under the statue of Anubis, and already I'm thinking, well, the other one's under the statue of Horus. Like those are the two statues that you always
Those are the
see.
two, sun and moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she's like, she's so brilliant because she figured that out. I'm like, well, yeah, like obviously, right?
Take that, Rachel.
Yeah. I wonder what was the rating for this movie, because it had some very strange like.
Oh, yeah, the like
I don't know.
topless.
Yeah, there was like the very opening. There was that.
Oh
that
yeah,
lady
like
who
she was
just like straight
pretty
up
much
naked.
nude. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, all right. So this is more of the adult type movie. But then they never showed any wound or blood.
Interesting.
Like I noticed, like even when he got got stabbed at the very end, he put his hand over his stomach and covered like the wounds.
It was PG-13.
Huh? Because there were also then like just some terrifying moments. Like I was gonna say beforehand, the one thing I remembered about this movie is I remember it being like kind of scary.
Yeah,
where I was
there's
like,
some scary moments.
and watching it again, I was like, whoa, like if I was a kid watching this,
Yeah,
no
like the
way.
scarab under the
The
skin.
scarab under the skin.
Or the dude without his eyes.
Yeah, the dude without his eyes, like
Yeah.
that whole hallway
the
scene.
guy getting eaten by the scarabs
Or
like
something
really quickly.
even like the scene with the dude without his eyes sitting there thinking that he's entertaining a priest or a prince.
No, man.
And then it turns out to be
Yeah.
like that
that's kinda
scene. And that
horrifying.
actor, did an
Yeah.
amazing job because it's just like, that gave me goosebumps.
And like the way it was set up too, like he had just spilled his tea, and they're like,
Yeah.
and it's like,
yeah.
But it also set this kind of vibe for the rest of for the villain, like being able to flesh out exactly how evil this guy was without really giving him lines. You know, like he didn't just show up and eat him. He's just like sitting and having tea with him.
yeah.
yeah,
That's true. They all the
Playing with your
stabbings. I just remember that there were 3 times that people were stabbed, and it was always off screen, and you would see the shadow. of it.
yeah.
which is also a very Indiana Jones thing.
It is. That's true. But I feel like that's a way to get around showing like whatever violence they weren't
right.
allowed to show.
Like,
Although
that's
they
a very
murdered
universal
people.
Yeah.
thing.
They murdered
It's true.
people like crazy.
Yeah, I
like
think they
that
went as
opening
far
with like on
as
the
they
boat. People
could.
were. Yeah.
But I didn't miss it. Like it didn't feel like childish, you
Right.
know?
No, yeah, that's
Or-
true. Yeah.
Well, I think that speaks for skilled filmmakers. You know, you
Yeah.
almost think you saw something
Yeah.
that you didn't. It has the same impact without being shown.
Like I felt like I saw the nipple even though I didn't. Yeah, I get it.
I imagined it real hard.
And that nipple that I imagined was so much better than the real one, I guarantee.
And I also feel like I saw them pulling out brains with the poker thing, but I'm sure it
Yes.
was
Oh,
obscured in a way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrifying. Yeah, they did a lot of cutaways just before things happened. Or things happening off screen. Yeah.
So
But it left much to your imagination,
Exactly.
just like
Just
the
like
mummy ride, like you were saying.
See, it all comes back around.
Much to your imagination.
But, I have to say, we were talking a little bit about CG. I do still feel like Boris Karloff in the makeup is way more interesting and way more frightening than just cartoons on screen. Just
I
the
haven't
computer
seen
animated.
the original.
Yeah, I haven't seen the original either.
Even still, just think of the computer animated mummy. Just was not impressive.
I wish he walked around in that super cool mask and like black outfit
Yeah.
he was
Oh, yeah.
wearing in that one
That
scene.
Dementor outfit.
Because he was super creepy there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the rest of the movie, I wasn't afraid of him.
Yeah.
Or like when he just looked like Marlon Brando in a loincloth. Like,
No, he was like the Deal or No Deal.
Yeah, Deal or No Deal.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Who's the guy who hosts Deal or No Deal?
Howie?
Howie.
He looked like
He
Howie.
looked like Howie.
Howie?
Totally.
Yeah.
Well,
I
the
can't
picture,
imagine
he
Howie being
does.
in such good shape.
Ouch.
I was wondering, and I don't know if you know anything about this, Nick, because I mentioned it, and I don't think anybody here knew. But the first time the Mummy was on screen, I couldn't tell if it was like all CG or if it was like mixed media, like there was some stop motion and then they CG'd the face.
Oh, when he was like
Because
frozen?
it definitely got worse throughout the movie, the CG, but that first pass looked really good.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes me think
don't
that
know.
it is actually all CG. Because if they had built it, then it's there, then they'd use it.
Yeah.
That's true.
If it was CG, they're going to put their money into like the big star shots.
The reveal.
Yeah, and then, get cheaper on the other shots.
It never
people
felt
stop
like it
paying
had
attention.
any weight. It always seemed like, a flimsy animated thing. And I just feel like
Yeah.
a guy with makeup effects would have had real weight to it and could have been more grotesque and believable.
Yeah, I agree, but I also don't think it was as bad as other things I've seen. I guess that's the thing. We've seen some terrible CG
Yeah.
in our days.
It wasn't great, but it held up a lot better than I thought it was.
Yeah, exactly. I think we went in with low expectations for the CG and we're like, oh, it's not terrible.
Yeah.
We're not laughing at it. Okay, it's great.
I'm pretty sure it was ILM that did the CG for this movie.
And I
remember.
I was very impressed with their awareness of lighting. Maybe they didn't knock it out of the park every time, and maybe they didn't have the technology for it, but they always lit those computer animated characters properly. You know, when a torch would fall over or flames would burst out, they were always lighting the characters properly.
Well, that's cool.
Not saying it always looked real, but they tried.
It makes a huge difference, the lighting of the CG, for sure.
We were trying to guess what the budget, like this had to have been just an enormous budget.
Yeah. I mean, there was quality in the stuff that shouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, all the set pieces and
everything from
costumes.
props to effects.
Yeah.
Like everything had so much detail and effort.
So I'm really curious about what was the conflict in the beginning of the movie, like that war scene. And I'm kind of left feeling like one side were the British, like maybe the Imperial British, you know, setting up colonies or whatever. But why was Brendan Fraser in charge of that platoon? Like, he's clearly
I think they
American.
were French.
What's the story there?
Wasn't he speaking French? Wasn't he giving orders in French?
Yeah, that's actually a good
must have
point.
missed that. Okay, but
I think
still
they were
stands.
explorers
Why
who
him?
found that city, and then maybe the people attacking were the protectors.
Well, I think
the protectors stood on the ridge
showed up
watching.
at the end. Yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
I think the idea is people all the time go searching for this like hidden city, you know, because it's supposed to have all this gold and wealth. And so people are always, treasure hunters are always looking for it. So I think it was two bands of treasure hunters that were far more organized and funded than the people we saw in the film. But they were fighting over because they, you know, the French had found it first and these other people were showing up. Because Brendan Fraser said that he was hired to go out there, you know.
I like this headcanon that there was that line in the movie where the guy was like, many people have spent their lives looking for this. And it's just the idea that this is just something that bros go and do on the weekend. Like four American dudes like, let's go find Hamanoptera. Like
Americans.
Well, more on the
Bachelor party.
more on the head
We
canon
found
of
those
that.
two books
Like,
and we totally just moved them from one statue to the other.
Switch swap. Now let's go do shots.
more on the headcanon of that. If it was like a British or foreign team fighting like a local team, and they maybe didn't know the location of where they were, and then when they cornered Brendan Fraser under the statue, they realized, and then they ran away, and they weren't going back.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it was cursed, and they knew all the legends and everything.
I feel like they must have cut some moment in there because there was like he said he was the one that found that key. Did we ever see him find that key?
No, yeah, you're right.
It was
Like apparently the brother was there
Yeah.
and like stole it from him.
yeah, there was
but
like a
it's
lot of
all-
stuff that was implied that felt like it should have existed, even just briefly.
Yeah.
I kind of like that it didn't, though, because it gave you like a backstory to kind of wonder about and piece together.
Because there was the time where the brother patted him, and I forget, Brendan Fraser made sure
that he wasn't stolen. Yeah,
and he was like, "Don't worry," you know. So maybe he stole it off Brendan Fraser when he wasn't actually at the city. Because if he was at the city,
they
then
made a lot
he'd
of
know
jokes
where
like
it
that
was.
in the movie too. Like
What?
My brother would call it borrowing.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
I
I feel like there was a
definitely
scene
felt
in
like
there that
he
got
stole it off of Brendan Fraser
Yeah.
off screen.
But I kind of agree with Sam. Like, I liked that you just sort of picked up on those little subtle moments, you know?
I wonder if there was like a bridge between him.
There was a cut scene.
Like, so they're like, the desert will kill him, and then it cuts away, and then we're with Rachel Weisz. I wonder if there's a moment there where he has a scene with the brother, and he has the thing, and it gets stolen. And that
They
scene
actually
just got
had a full like the scene of the 3 years later, just a whole thing, a whole sequence.
Yeah, it was actually a montage of like the past. Well, and then he's in prison, and we don't know why.
ultimately, I don't
yeah.
think we need all of that.
I liked that we don't know why, kind of, but
Yeah, I think
Still,
we get
yeah.
that enough from context.
yeah, I guess they said like he got arrested for having a good time,
A very good
time.
very good time. That's fun.
that sounds
good.
like he was raping and pillaging or
I
something.
mean, yeah.
Jeez.
Speaking
Yeah,
of which,
it's-
Rachel Weisz got She got forcibly kissed multiple times.
Yeah, that is maybe the most dated part of this movie.
It was like, whoa. And she was the only woman other than the mummy chick.
Although
there were two women
in the
entire thing.
Fun turn. Yeah. She did flip that and use it to save everyone.
She did.
In the airplane.
She did. She forcibly kissed the mummy.
So at least it wasn't just left as like only the bad thing happening to her.
Sure.
She was just like, I guess people really want to kiss
and
me.
that wasn't like her only. That wasn't her only thing. She shot a dude with a shotgun and killed him.
Yeah,
that happened
and had no problem.
No problem. Didn't even hesitate. Like, yeah, I killed before.
But I do enjoy. Right, it's a little weird, but I kind of like that our characters are not good people. They're all kind of evil, asshole, mean murderers.
Like
even just a shitty librarian.
Yeah. Who knocks over all the books.
So let's get some sort of final thoughts on how we felt about The Mummy. So Sam, how did you feel coming out of it? Your final judgment.
I feel disappointed in my earlier self for not believing in this movie more, because I fucking loved the shit out of this movie.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun. I mean, it's not like a cinematic masterpiece or anything, but as far as an adventure film goes, it's pretty great. Mm-hmm. It was really entertaining, really well done. The effects and the aesthetic looks a little dated in 90s, but overall, totally still watchable.
I think I can easily just echo your sentiments there. Like, it was better than I expected, better than I remembered. There were flaws in the visual effects, but still is a lot better than I expected. I don't know. What do you think, Bret?
Yeah.
I mean, I was completely correct. This movie's awesome. Although I don't know if it was the Rotten Tomatoes thing or whatever, but while I was renting this, Google told me that somewhere it had only a 51% rating.
Wow.
What?
So,
well, that seems very Rotten Tomatoes-y, because if it's not like very cinema, they don't give it a good rating.
But yeah, fuck whoever else saw this and didn't like it, because I thought it was pretty cool. The one thing that I noticed that I really liked, I mean, I mentioned several times while we were watching, and the detail in the costumes and the props. And I feel like this is one of the only movies where I've ever seen people wearing real fezzes and not costume fezzes. Like, everybody always has those ones that stick way up off their head, and it's like, nobody would wear that. Like, everybody had a hat that fit. Like, even small things. The world felt real, even if some of the plot stuff was goofy.
So what is a fez? I've often wondered this. Like, is it a religious thing? Is it just a Middle Eastern thing? If I wear one at a party, is it inappropriate?
I always thought it was just like a Middle Eastern baseball cap.
Yeah, I don't think it's a religious thing, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I really can't answer that.
I mean, they made a game about it, so
that's true. And just one guy.
Yeah. He wasn't Middle Eastern, so
yeah. We'll research Fez and get back to you on that.
Yeah,
it was that game was just whitewashed. So, what did you think, Ash, as the one who wanted us all to watch this?
Oh, I loved it. It was so great. I think it was better than I expected it to be, because I remembered loving it, but there's been many a times like Jumanji where I remembered loving it and then it wasn't as good as I remembered. Yeah. So I was a little scared, but I loved it. I thought it was so much fun. I thought the writing and the jokes are great. Except for the convenient writing, but it's films, it's a movie. But I loved it so much. Honestly, I want to go watch the second one now.
Me too. I have it on DVD.
I don't think it's going to be as good.
Yeah.
I was going to ask that. Like, does it make you want to watch The Mummy Returns or the original or the newer remake? Does it
definitely not
want to watch
remake.
Any of those?
Ooh. Ash had some good insights on how they should have done the remake.
Oh, yeah. They should have cast Chris Pratt as the main character instead of Tom Cruise.
He would have been perfect.
Chris Pratt has to be in everything.
Devilish.
Well, you know what, Bitterface?
This was his thing, though.
Yeah, like this would have been his like charisma would have been perfect for like a like Brendan Fraser kind of has the Chris Pratt charisma.
I think you're absolutely right, except he just did that character in Jurassic World, and it would be too similar.
But it's just, but there's any of a cast of those like sarcastic actors could do this, like
Any of the Chris's.
yeah.
Pratt, Evans.
Paul Rudd.
Oh, Paul Rudd would be
Chris
Evans
He's a
would
little
be
too
good
old, but-
Too, yeah.
Who?
Evans, Chris Evans, yeah.
But Chris Pine just pretty much played this character in Wonder Woman, so.
Oh, okay.
And it's not like Hollywood typecast people.
Yeah.
I know.
And also, if you run out of Chris's, there's always more. There's
That's
another
true.
Hemsworth that you can grab. There's
I think that's the thing for me that deters me from watching the new Mummy is the casting. It's just like I'm not saying that Tom Cruise isn't a good actor. I just don't feel like he's the right fit for this role for the Mummy that I remember loving. I've never seen the original, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's a much more serious film.
I think he's
Which is
too
funny
modern.
because
Yeah.
I feel like they probably cast Tom Cruise because he would be a safe bet to bring in the audience. But for me, I feel like you should spend more time focusing on the Mummy. You shouldn't really care so much about the generic adventurer guy. It's the Mummy that's interesting. And I'm not getting
But
that
the
vibe
generic
from this new
adventurer
movie.
guy is our hero.
yeah.
But I agree, I'm not getting that vibe from the
Yeah.
Until
I want to loop back into what you just said, and I want to say that I think maybe I'll boldly state that Tom Cruise is a bad actor.
Oh, okay. That's fine. That's fine.
I just want to put that out there.
I just was saying his acting skills aside. That was really what I
you
meant.
prefer Chris. All right, so what are your thoughts, Ryan?
I would echo everyone else's sentiments. I was actually extremely impressed with this. It was fun and adventurous. I really thought it was gonna. I guess when I thought of the movie specifically, I thought of Brendan Fraser's face, and when I think of his face, I think cheesy '90s. And so like that's my association, and it was kind of cool to be like, oh no, he was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, remember he was good, guys.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed him, and I would put this movie right in that category with like Twister. Of a movie that you're like, that's still a good movie.
I still haven't seen that.
I've never seen it
You should
either.
watch it. It's in this. It's in this
I've
category.
never
No.
seen it either.
It's good.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll put it on the list.
Yeah.
I think people should check out With Honors or Gods and Monsters. Like, Brendan Fraser has some range, and he can do like really good drama too. He's not just this dopey guy next to Pauly Shore. I think there's much more to him than that.
I feel like this movie really played to his strengths, though, as like sarcastic guy. And I can't think of too many other movies where he actually got to do that.
Monkey Bone.
Yeah. I think
that
Airhead's
has
a
like
bit.
a cult following.
Yeah.
Like there are
I
people who
fucking
really like
love
that.
Monkey
Yeah.
Bone, and I will fight you. Though I haven't seen it in a really long time, so it would be a great one for the podcast because I could be horribly wrong.
I bought him as like a kind of a rock star, like gun. Like he could shoot. He could do so many
Yeah.
things with his gun. He shot a mirror and turned it to face the exact right way. He shot a scarab on the
Well,
ground.
Ryan, he didn't really do that.
What?
It's something called
Wait,
movie
what?
magic. Yeah.
I've got to go. But I bought him as that guy, like when he like flipped out his guns and it was this like
Right.
whole
Yeah.
thing of all the different weapons and he's loading it up, and when he was like shooting and throwing away guns, and I'm like, I believe this. It doesn't feel goofy to me. It actually feels.
I guess that's why I have a hard time with Tom Cruise is because like he doesn't really fit that. Like, yes, I know he's like an adventure like type actor, but there's something like gruff and rough about
Yes.
this character that
Indiana
he
Jones type.
doesn't really embody to me.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is too clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and short.
Don't worry, we got plenty of those in the next
did you?
episode.
Okay, good.
Yeah, when we
The
did Top Gun.
one.
Oh man,
So,
that's cool.
Ryan, where can we get to see them roadies? I assume there's a website, there's a schedule somewhere.
Yes.
You have a website now?
We do have a website. I haven't updated it in a while, but it's roadiesimprov.com. But the best place is actually just to find us on Facebook. I believe it's just called Roadies Improv.
I know I forced Daleks to make a Twitter account for you guys.
Oh yeah. And my wife, she updated the Instagram. Like so there's an Instagram account that she does pretty regularly.
Do you
so you can find us on all the social medias, and that's the best way to find us.
Do you know of specific dates in June that people might be wanting to be aware of?
I don't yet. We're still locking in. Okay. We're going to do a really big benefit show that'll be tied in with Autism Speaks, and it'll be like a really fun, some great talent. And we know we're doing it either in late June or early July, but I haven't locked the date in. I wish I knew so I could tell you guys.
But check by the time Facebook, people are listening to this show, check out Facebook. And
I know, actually, it might be right around the right time. Yeah. So it might already be up by the time you listen.
Magic.
Cool. Movie magic. Next Friday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll probably know by then, hopefully.
Podcast magic.
Yeah.
The linear movement of time. Is there anything else?
Go to your show and suggest mummy as the keyword for you.
Yes. I would do a mummy show.
See, now you can just do some mummy prep in your head and have it kind of tucked away.
Yeah.
So is there anything else we should be looking for you, Ryan?
No, just keep your eyes open. You'll see me on the TV and stuff.
On the TV.
Hopefully on the main screen too.
No big deal.
Cool. Well, thanks for watching The Mummy with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like the show, this is part of the Laugh Stash TV network of content, and thanks for sticking with us for 50 episodes.
Yeah, woo! 50 episodes.
I'm the 50th episode.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to say 50 years.
Well, that too. But. Is this 50th recorded or 50th released?
This is our 51st recorded, but but we get to release episodes in any order that we desire.
There was one episode that got buried like a mummy.
Oh! No. I'm going to use the veto on that.
Oh, God. Laugh Stash TV has this show and then a YouTube channel with a drinking show with me and Ash, a cooking show, some really good video game parodies. Just go check it out, Laugh Stash TV on YouTube.
Yes. And if you wanted to see a Roadies show and you don't know when you're going to be able to see one, there's two shows that are actually on Laugh Stash.
In our video, you'll have to go to our videos tab and then scroll down because I think they're
probably pretty far down.
A couple years ago.
It was a while ago. We've gotten better since then. But there's two, There's
go to videos and click oldest first.
It's called
Ryan looks like a little baby. It was so long ago.
You'll find them. They're pretty clearly labeled with Roadies on it. Yeah. But so you follow us on YouTube. You can also follow this podcast at Let's Rewatch.
What are we doing?
I'm loading Twitter and my brain froze. You can follow this podcast on Let's Rewatch on Twitter, and you can also follow the Laugh Stash TV network, which is all of our stuff at Laugh Stash TV. But if you follow at Let's Rewatch, we do fun stuff sometimes. Like sometimes we do a poll to let people choose the movie, or sometimes I tweet a picture of what we're watching, like a screen grab, and then ask you guys to guess. And thank you so much for Mobius Strip, guessed first, and he replied with the hilarious poster to mine, which was great.
The
and then he said this and also the FMK show, and Craig guessed correctly. So thanks so much, guys.
Good job, Craig.
Good job, Craig.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed listening to our podcast, please give us a very glowing, positive, lovely, and adoring review on iTunes or Google Play Music.
And tell us if you think who would win, a camel or a horse on sand. I mean, we gave you the answer, but go ahead and leave that in the
Google
review.
gave us the answer, but if you have...
Let's look at fight next.
Yeah, if you...
fight, Who would win in a fight?
Okay. I was going to say, if you've raced a camel, please tell us how glorious it was. We want to know.
Oh, definitely. Pictures.
Yeah.
Let's see a galloping camel.
Yeah. I mean, we can YouTube all this, but it's much more fun.
It was in the movie.
Yeah.
They were like screaming, like, yeah, go girl. Like they were cheering her, Evie. Evie or something? Evie. Whatever. And like they were cheering, and then it cut to her, and she was like a small trot up to the thing. Like, oh, that was really anticlimactic.
She was so far ahead.
So if you like the show, make sure you join us again in another 2 weeks. Make sure your subscriptions are all up to date, and we'll be back again for another episode of Let's Rewatch.
Yeah, next time we're going to be watching Birdemic, Shock and Terror.
Oh, no. I've seen
that. Is that
one.
like the sequel?
Oh, it doesn't even look like a movie.
Yeah, it's kind of not.
What else would it be?
What is this? What is
it
this
a
image?
PC CD-ROM?